Good evening, everyone. My name is Joe Striffler, and for those of you who don't know, I am a history teacher here. And I was asked by our principal to look into some new technological uh, 21st century learning experiences. So, what I chose to look into was called the Maker Movement. Now, what the Maker Movement is it is something that focuses on experiential learning through planning, graphic design, creation of projects. And these are typically within the STEAM field: science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. And they use things like 3D printing, computer programming, electronics and electrical wiring and engineering to get the job done. So I want to talk a little bit about the current trends. The inclusion of maker spaces in school have has been shown to lead to better involvement of the community, and whether that is through donations or support, or having a teacher come in, or having a parent who works in one of the fields come in to teach a class on how to write computer coding, because that's not something that is really required for a lot of teachers. The other thing is that these kind of things are popping out or popping up all over the country and are very, very important, and can be fully integrated into the school curriculum. It's not just that these are after school projects, it's that these are becoming ways in which we get our students to learn. With that, there is a couple of issues that can come up. Typically, because of the costs associated with this, they're usually only in upper class or upper middle class schools, and those tend to be mostly the white schools. So a lot of time should be put in to make sure that there is equity of access for our students. And as more schools adopt these kind of spaces, these maker spaces as they call them, they're afraid that they maybe attempts to water them down with standardized tests, as opposed to allowing it to be that free exploration that really does help and is shown to help students engage with it. So I had to think about this, and why would I incorporate these kind of spaces into history education? So the first thing is students can create objects that they can look at, that they can touch, and having them be able to handle something is always better than having them say, read something out of a textbook. Uh, I thought about having them create siege engines or something like that when studying the Middle Ages. They could also create like a timeline, a three-dimensional timeline of historical events, to have them both engage their mind and show what they've learned, but also to build on that through the use of this 3D technology. Uh, there are a couple of different tools we can use. Tinkercad is a free open source design software. It's fantastic. DIY.org has it's a social learning platform that allows students to talk about filmmaking, clothing design, all sorts of things. And finally, SketchUp. SketchUp is a really useful piece of equipment that allows you to design buildings. And it can be used to show people the inside of a cathedral or the Parthenon. So, those are all really interesting things that we should consider looking into. So, in summation, the development of these maker spaces is a net positive for us. It increases the students' abilities to interact with this technology that they're already using outside, but we can get them to use it for us to learn. Um, and it's not just limited to the STEM or STEAM fields. It can be beneficial across the entire curriculum. And while there are some costs associated with this, I've linked a couple of grants that can be applied for by our school in order to get this to our students. So, with that, these are my references. And if no one has any questions, I hope to talk with you about this more and work towards getting it into our school. Thank you. Have a good night.